everybody, and welcome back to the Coffee Club Podcast, episode 75. We got the full ensemble today and a very special guest. Everyone is back together, and we have a lot of stories to share. First off, I guess we'll start with our bean shout-out. George, who do we have beans from today?
Today, we have beans from just a beautiful part of the country, Amory, Wisconsin, from the brother himself of Alicia Monson, Cole Monson, 430 miler as of recently, I believe. I was asked to mention that. He's got us some beans from Legacy River, from Amory. I don't know, like 20 people live in Amory?
Probably.
I don't know.
Half of them are the Monson clan.
Yeah, probably everyone in Amory is related to the Monsons. That's what we've heard. So, thanks, Cole.
Thank you, Cole. We appreciate that a lot. And then also, Olli has a special shout out, which we want to not forget this because we got a nice message from him in our DM. So
yeah, when I was in Melbourne, he came up and he was very adamant to be shout out in the podcast.
Jonathan Neefling.
So Jonathan Neefling, there's a shout out for you. Thanks for coming up and being a fan and coming to the Maury Plan Invitational. It's great to meet you. And I'm glad to fulfill that request.
He's only 14.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that people that young listen to our podcast. It makes sense though. He sent a very funny message because he sent a longer message saying, hey, like I met Olli at the Maury Plant meet and he told me like he would give me a shout out, so I just wanted to send a message. And then under it he just sends, I'm 14 by the way.
You just want to make that clear, you know. Well, that was the one thing that kind of got me quite nervous was meeting some fans. There's a lot of fans, which is amazing at Melbourne. A lot of them were young kids, like probably 14 years and under, with their parents taking photos, and the kids and the parents are saying, we love the Coffee Club podcast. And I'm thinking in my head, shit, I've said some really questionable things, and I've sworn like quite a bit. So yeah, I'm hoping that maybe the parents are just chill with that, but I kind of worry that maybe they're like young kids are now listening to our pod, which I didn't realize. Maybe we should clean up the language a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned.
It's quite concerning.
We're not having too much of an influence on them.
Yeah, particularly with the language. But I guess they're Australian kids, so like they probably grow up from the age of 6 onwards knowing.
They're destined to have the worst
it's
language.
It's going to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
It may as well be us.
It may as well be us.
But so a big welcome back to Olli, back from Australia. He's big trip down under. And then a very special guest on the show today, Mr. Jonas Raess, our Swiss teammate. He's our only teammate, apart from Helena Beery, if you count her, that didn't go through the NCAA system. So it's kind of a bit of because obviously if you go through the NCAA system, you're kind of shoved in the face of all these American fans and all that. But if you grow up in Switzerland, no offense, we don't pay much attention to what's happening over in Switzerland. So this is kind of, I hope, a big, welcome to everyone to our beloved teammate, Jonas. Do you want to give a little intro to yourself? You've been on the team now for almost a year.
Yeah, thanks a lot for inviting me to the podcast. It's almost a year that I've joined the OAC. It was in April, I think, the first time that I came over. And yeah, since then, it's a pleasure to be a part of this team, like a huge privilege. And
you can be honest. You don't have to be so nice to us.
That's the Swiss coming out.
Exactly, like always diplomatic. As soon as the camera is off, it sounds a bit different. No.
Tell us how you really feel.
Yeah, tell us how you really feel. Rate us out. Okay. Rate us out of 10. Since you've been on the team, because we did this with.
Wait, is he rating us or the team?
What do we do with Mario and Jared?
Well, Jared rated us quite high, remember? And then it started going down.
Yeah.
And then Mario rated us quite low and it started going up. So, where do you rate us out of 10?
Yeah, let's just say being on the team, and you've been here for a year. Yeah.
Like your ideal situation is 10, and your not so ideal situation is 1. Where does OAC, the one that's based in Boulder, where does that kind of?
Thanks for that.
Yeah, just need clarification sometimes. Yeah.
I didn't know which OAC you were talking about.
There's an OAC Europe one. I've been asked multiple times.
Confusing.
So Jonas, he's on the Europe team. I was like, no, he's been training with us. He's been with us for a year. Thank you very much.
He's European.
He's European. We have Europeans in our team.
Yeah,
but they're part of the one that's based in Boulder, the original one.
I mean, we are probably third, Oceania, third Europeans, and the third Americans. Is that sounds about right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we always see everyone.
Yeah, I've noticed that he hasn't given us a number yet.
Yeah, he's trying to avoid that.
I always see
That's the Swiss coming.
inclusiveness,
That's the
but-
Swiss coming through here.
Swiss,
No,
The
like
further it gets from Zurich, the lower the number
Yeah.
goes.
So out of 10, like ideal situations 10, not so ideal is 1. How do you rate this OAC group and for your training and
no,
everything
I,
like that?
I definitely would give it a 10.
Yeah. So it's
like-
been that's awesome to hear.
No, like
That's the answer I expected.
Yeah.
no, it's like definitely the truth. Like it's just like amazing to train with all these guys. Like how you call them, heavy hitters. Like
Have you hit us?
That's
Oh,
an
yeah.
old. We haven't said heavy hitters for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a throwback.
It's a
Yeah.
throwback. Morgan's heavy
it's
hitters.
definitely also a challenge if you come like into such a strong team. Like to cope with not only pressure but also like to find your position in this team. I guess it's also a challenge.
Mm.
What I wanted to mention here on this podcast, like it's always looks like, oh yeah, that's amazing, you just can jump into this team and you will be amazing, but I guess there are also challenges if you're part of this team.
No, I mean,
But
it's true.
you get a 10. You get a 10.
Let's go, boys.
We got a
It's the only
10.
10 will ever be rated.
And we'll take it.
We'll take it.
So Jonas has been here for, as I said, almost a year. Last year was a challenging year because you had a couple of pretty legit injuries.
Mm.
Came back and finished the season with a couple of races, but then since that you've been extremely healthy, trained very well through the fall and the winter, did some races over back in Switzerland, and now you've been back here in the US for, I would say, about 7 weeks. And yeah, you guys might have seen him. He raced at first the 5K in Boston with the rest of the boys, ran 13:10.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Yeah.
13:10.
Huge last lap.
Big last lap. I mean, you came third.
I think it was third. He won.
Oh,
He
yeah,
won
I
the.
was-
He won the other
Won the
race.
peloton.
The second,
Yeah.
the second race.
He
like,
won the
I
chase
was
tag.
I was the sprinter. I was,
He won that one, and then he did very well at Melrose with a 7:35. Was it 35?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Dude, I'm so good at this.
Yeah,
oh my
you're
god.
right. Yeah.
Swiss record.
So it's right. So he's been crushing it, and this is all leading up to the 10K, which is on Saturday. And I guess it's a very big. I know that you don't see yourself as a 10K runner. You're a 5K runner, but the 10K is a very big one, just because you don't get to race too many of them. So it's like, you come here and you've done all this training, and this is how you finish your trip, and then you head home to Europe for a bit before coming back here for the summer racing. But yeah, how are we feeling going into a 10K? I know it's your debut. I don't know if did you choose to put this on the schedule, or was it kind of more Ritz, or did it just make sense because you're like, all right, I'm part of the OAC 5K, 10K boys, and Joe is going for this 10K, and myself, I was originally like, this would have been like the big race for me as well. So did you choose this, or did it kind of just happen?
Like my old coach always wanted to convince me to try 10K,
Mm-hmm.
and I never did. So shout out to Steve Vernon. I'm finally going for it, and I guess it also shows like the priority of this 10K, because we made the compromise and we are not running European indoors, and we're going for this 10K. That shows like how much it like really matters to us, like to run the sound running the 10. I guess it's one of the best 10Ks.
Don't let Jesse hear that. He's gonna be.
I guess
all over
especially like for our group, I guess probably there is a faster race somewhere in the world, but like we will have like, I don't know if I'm already dropping here something, but Olli will be the pacer, and yes, exactly.
I'm
This
looking
guy
forward to
over
getting
there.
back on a plane.
And
You've been in Boulder for too long.
Yeah, I've been
It's been,
bored
what,
for
2 days?
24 hours, so it's like Dathan's like, you need to get out! You gotta get out!
Get him to California.
Get him out!
yeah, I mean, it's just amazing to have a teammate from like this caliber to go for 6 or 7 Ks, and you just know you will have like consistent pace, and that makes a huge difference to run a fast 10K.
I'm sure
I guess
mentally.
that's the key. That's the key for Joe, me, and all the guys.
Everyone.
Yeah, I feel like the 10K is one of those races where the mental game is much more difficult.
Yeah.
I feel like in a mile or 1500 you'll be in a lot of pain. It's like quick and things happen much more rapidly, but you're mentally able to kind of zone in for that amount of time. It's like 3 minutes and 50 seconds or whatever. For a mile, if at that level. But like, yeah, for a 10K, it's like 27 minutes. That's a long time to be able to be mentally
Thanks
in.
for that. Thanks for that. Yeah.
Probably like just under. Probably just under.
Probably just under 27.
Less
But
than
like,
27.
it's a long.
That's why we go out so hard. Just to make it
My
as
explanation
short as possible.
My explanation is a lot longer time. So, having somebody to rely on pacing or having a reliable situation for a longer race, it just really does benefit you. Because once you know that the pacer steps off, it's like, okay, it's now time to maybe put more of that mental focus in. So it's nice to help out the team and particularly the boys. You got to hang up. You're for the boys.
It was so funny when back in October when we were sharing an apartment with Eleanor Berry, we were talking about the 10K and she was like, "Oh yeah, it is very very tough. It is very tough." And I was like, "Oh,
If she's
thanks
saying
a lot."
that,
And I was like,
she's the best in the world.
If you're saying that, like, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to do my first 10K now.
Yeah, that's scary. No,
It's crazy how much emphasis can be put on one single 10K, but it also makes sense. But like in the last few years, the number of 10Ks each year seems to have like just dwindled to like literally 2 or 3. At the same time, the standard has just been put into like a ridiculous
the stratosphere.
Yeah.
And so you do like the number of things that have to line up for everything to like you fall into place for a good one to happen. Means you have to just like you have to put things on hold, like European indoors and a whole altitude camp based around one race. And especially when they open the Olympic window is
That'd be
open
huge.
for the
That's a
10K.
sweet spot there as well. Like if Joe is running or if I'm running the standard, for like if you run under 27, you already have the standard for the Olympics, Paris.
That's insane.
2024.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to run
that's a
another
sweet
one
spot
if you
there.
didn't want to.
Yeah, but it is
So
crazy.
that's why it's crazy how much emphasis is put on it, but also it makes sense.
To put it into perspective, how hard the qualifier is now, we would all have to run national records, like
Yeah.
by
a lot.
a solid
yeah.
way to get under the qualifier. So when you look at it like that, it's like, wow, this is really just like madness. And the ranking for the 10K is just only 2 races. For the 1500, you have to have 5 performances. 10K is only 2, but again, as George said, it's like there's no, apart from Worlds, which you got to make that. Apart from that, there's just
So hard
none.
to get any points.
Yeah.
And
I guess you
and
can
there's
run
only
the 10K on the road as well, right?
you
That
can
counts as well.
do that now. Yes.
So that's my. I don't want to get into this whole thing.
Yeah, sorry.
But is it one road 10K or is it 3 road 10Ks?
Oh, because of the cross country bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, no, you can actually just get the standard.
Oh, so
Yeah.
it's
If
just
you run-
the time just.
But I
counts.
think the course has to be certified. It has
Oh,
to
yeah.
be
Yeah,
certified
definitely.
course.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So it can't be like a downhill
It's too
wind at
bad.
the back.
It's too bad.
Uh,
Otherwise we would
If
have
you run
gone for this one,
26:59 on the roads, you can go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
Wait, do you reckon that's going to be much more of an option for people? Because if you have like a super shoe that maybe performs better, just for that kind of event, like
100%. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like
so.
being on like a track with spikes. Obviously, you can run really fast, but the recovery in your body plus getting into a rhythm and being in super shoes on the road, it's probably an easier option. Like if I'm looking at personally running a 10K, I want to get the standard. If I'm running a road 10K in the super shoes or a track 10K in spikes, I'd probably go the road 10K in the super shoes. I probably would.
The week that they go into the track, I honestly
Why are you
think
guys doing this?
I honestly think the track's not a good idea.
Yeah, but like how many 10Ks do you have? Like
No, but I agree with what you're saying. I don't
Yeah,
think
me
it's a
too.
direct comparison, but I think if you took the road 10K list versus the track 10K list, I think the road one is a lot deeper, around like that 27 minute.
I'm going to be interested to see how that translates because I feel like
So-
it is valuable to run 10K on the track because there's tactics involved. You've got to be able to use to it mentally and physically, but it's an interesting option now having that 10K road.
I think
Yeah.
I would choose road too. Just the monotony of thinking of 25 laps sounds so.
Yeah, we
painful
should
right now.
get into it too much because
Yeah.
Well, luckily we have Olli pacing. We have the wisdom of Mike Smith. Go to sleep playing through your ears. I think with that you can achieve anything, but
Plus some cheeky wave lights.
yeah,
wave lights
lights.
definitely will
Yeah,
help
yeah,
a
it's
lot.
nice.
Helps
Yeah.
just with the go to sleep.
What's the chance that Jesse sets him up right this year though?
pretty high.
50-50?
I feel like he'll put it up pretty. I feel like he'll nail it.
Did we get a definitive answer as to what was wrong with him last time? A year ago?
Apparently, they weren't ever set to the standard,
They were
which
just set to
sounds
different times.
weird because like when George and I were in the 15, the standard at that point was 335 flat. But when George and I finished, we were ahead of the lights. So it didn't make sense for our race because why would it be set at 337 or 6 or whatever the hell it was set at? It doesn't make any sense. And then Elise Cranny, like she was going for the American record, right? and she passed it near the end. Everyone thought she got it, but then they looked at the time.
It's just a few seconds off. Like
it wasn't
far.
much.
It was just a strange thing, but I think Jesse said that it was set at a different time, that it was already agreed upon by Bauman.
Oh yeah, I did hear that. Like Jerry wanted it to be slow because then he kind of thought she would go with it and then go faster than it rather than.
I think that's the plan for you guys, isn't it? To set the lights up a little behind the standard.
I haven't.
We should probably.
To be honest, I've been back in Boulder for 24 hours, and Dathan just booked my flight to LA. So I'm still like figuring out what the plan is. But I'm guessing for me it'll be 3:30 through 5K, and then from 5 to 7K, winding it down.
13:30.
Yeah, that's what
27.
Is that
flat?
Is that right?
The standard is 27 flat.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well.
But
wait, it is? I thought it was 27:10.
It's 27:10 for Budapest.
Budapest.
But for
World
Paris,
Championships
Paris is
27:10.
You guys are going for that.
I think the option is if they're gonna have somebody pace the race, that they're thinking Olympics more than.
If you're gonna run 27.0s, you may as well run.
Because I think if you're going through and because it's gonna be a decent amount of people straying out. If I go through in 13:30, I'm sure that maybe middle of the pack would be like 13:35, which is not terrible. That's 27:10 pace.
It's perfect.
So I'm guessing that's what their plan is. I'm just gonna do what I'm told.
Yeah. But I've heard there's also a second group going for 27:30.
Yeah, Olin Hacker, shout out, is running the 1500 and then coming back to pace.
Whoa.
Gus is not happy about that. No,
Yeah,
but
I'm going for the first
he's
one.
coming back to pace the second group.
Yeah, don't even think about that yet.
I guess that's why you'd also run on the track, because if you wanted a track record,
True.
that makes a little bit of sense.
But I think Olin's pacing the second group. Source is Alicia Monson and Ben Unchink. I think Gus is seeing.
I think he's seeing some
squirrels.
demons. I think it's demons outside.
There's a squirrel on the tree, and he's not happy about it.
But so a little preview of this 10K from our group, along with Olli Pacey and Jonas. We also have Joe in there, and then I guess we're also doing a similar thing on the women's side, which is Josette pacing Alicia. I believe.
Oh, I thought Alicia was pacing.
I believe that's confirmed. No, she's pacing the last 3K
Yeah,
race.
she's pacing the last 3K of the race.
But on the
Yeah,
men's
that's
side, do we know? Have they released a list of who else is racing? We know it's a big heavy hitters type scenario.
I think Woody Kincaid is in it.
Louise is in it.
Mike Smith
Louise is in it.
Mike Smith, the lead, is coming
Mike Smith, the
down.
lead's coming down.
Okay, we have to change the name because I've gotten in trouble from this legal terms. So we got to call it Mike Smith Collective.
The Mike Smith Collective.
The Mike Smith
I
Collective.
like that
we
a
never
lot.
called it Mike Smith Elite Team. I mean,
No, but Mike Smith Elite sounds like a team.
What if we called it
like
Mike?
the insinuation of a
Okay,
team?
what
They
about-
want to make sure it's clearly just decided as a collective. So Mike Smith Collective.
No, we go Mike Smith's Elites. Because then that's individuals.
Yeah, but
It's not a
that,
team.
if I keep saying that, I'm going to start just getting a lisp.
Mike Smith's collective of elites.
I like it. You want it to be as straightforward as possible. There's no room for,
Can we just call it Mike Smith's Dark Sky?
yeah,
Is there a Flagstaff?
true. So good. So apart from them, who else is there? Do we have people from Europe coming over to race this?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
McCluffy's in it, isn't he?
He waits for the Olympics.
He'll be there next year.
It's not a.
He's just got to get
This
the
is too
standard
early.
for
This
Paris.
is way too early for him.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Yeah.
he's like 2 weeks before the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
McCluffy will pop out of the shadows.
Yeah, I didn't mean to put all the pressure on you just to tell us who's racing because I don't know who's racing.
No, it's a 10K. Like it's most of the guys you'd expect to be
Bauman?
in 10K.
We have
Luis
Bauman?
and Woody are going to...
I don't know. I mean,
I think Sean's entered.
Okay.
yeah, McGordy. No,
He's entered.
McGordy, is he entered? I
Yeah,
think Joe
but-
might have
I
mentioned.
think he is in, but
Yeah.
Joe
What about
mentioned
Teardrop?
something, so yeah.
Can you do it all?
He's a 15
Probably
meter
going for the
runner.
world record.
Surely. I mean, come on, you might as well. If we're going that quick,
Sam Atkin is also in it.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Not pacing this time? He's actually racing.
No, you might get
You
fined,
never know.
though.
He
You never
normally
know.
decides
You
midway
never
through.
know.
But yeah, no, I mean, like, yeah, Teardrop could be in there, or they could have like New Gen just be pissed because they get in front of the camera. Move over! I need to get a good shot of the team.
Are you going to pace in a Coffee Club shirt again? That was the highlight of the 10 last year. Wait, was that the 10? It was.
Yeah, that was the yellow shirt.
I got in
right?
trouble for that as well.
Yeah.
Now he's got the singlet this year. So
I do have this singlet. I
Coffee Club
don't.
singlet.
Yeah.
Well, I did that because it was a last minute thing. No, it wasn't a last minute thing, but Dathan kind of mentioned like, oh, maybe pace like a mile or two, depending on how you're feeling. Because I was kind of technically pacing the
Dude, they
15.
had 4 paces last year.
Yeah, they did. And
Do you
Graham
have
made the
anyone-
American record.
Do you have anyone helping you this year? Or is it just you?
Not that I know of.
Alright.
Maybe, probably.
Maybe someone for the 1500
Yeah,
come back
yeah.
like you did.
But yeah, I would wear the coffee club swinger, but maybe I would let On know first to see if it's okay. It probably isn't, but
This is you letting him. This is you asking for permission. Right
no.
now.
I'll actually like message him because like yeah, but
Well,
it would be cool.
It was funnier last year because you were just pacing a bunch of Bowman guys. This time you're actually facing your teammates. So
yeah.
it would make less sense.
Yeah. No, it would. Yeah.
No,
But in general, I'm looking forward to helping out the boys and hopefully
Joe and
getting
Jonas
some more brownie
freaking
points.
Yeah.
crushing.
Your Joe is so ready. Just
The boys
just
are ready to
looking
go.
forward see
The boys are ready to
him
go.
performing.
You guys have been doing the 10K workouts in the indoor track. I've been hearing about you guys crushing it. So that's the 10K, which is going to be such a huge one this week. And yeah, I guess that's a welcome to the podcast, Jonas. And I hope everyone becomes a super fan of yours that isn't already.
Appreciate it. Big
Yeah.
honor. Big honor to be on the pod. Finally.
Jonas is one of our devout listeners as well.
Yeah.
So first time, what do they say? Long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah.
Jonas right here. No, welcome in. And so the other big thing is we got Olli back.
Yeah.
Took 2 weeks away from the show. He
Yeah.
had some business to attend to down under.
I had business meetings.
A lot of business meetings. A lot of media.
Yeah.
So let's do a little recap of the trip. We know that you were absolutely just. You didn't have. I think you had what 1 day off in 2 weeks or something.
Oh, like off running?
Like off like doing stuff. Where you just got to chill.
Yeah, I had to. Yeah, 1 day. Yeah, 1 day because my mum's birthday. I had a day off.
So you've been just like jam packed, and so we'll go through it. I think we'll go through. I mean, I don't know what So you had World Cross, you had the OEC Oceania launch, and then you had the Maury Plant meet, and even before that you had
Milrose.
Milrose
Straight from Milrose.
in New York. So it was
Yeah.
just a crazy trip. What's like your takeaway? I don't even know how to break that down.
Self-loathing.
Self-loathing.
No, in general, like, I definitely, when I sat down with Ritz and I kind of formulated this plan because I knew how important it was to go home at this particular time to do these two races in particular, which was the race, obviously trying to win a medal at Worlds in cross country with a really good team, and then also the meet in Melbourne, like trying to get a big fan engagement in the sport because we really haven't had much of a big like crowd or big kind of emphasis on a track meet for a very long time. So I wanted to be a part of that and contribute my part because I really haven't contributed much domestically in Australia. So with all like the fortunate success I've had, that was the idea and the plan. So Tuesday though, we left early because we were doing stuff with the On Lightning team, which was, I mean, always a valuable and exciting experience. But from Tuesday onwards, it was just media interviews because I was defending my title. So it was media interviews.
This is New York.
This is New York.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So this was Tuesday. Got in. The race was Saturday. So Tuesday I had a lot of media stuff. I was fortunate enough to do a little piece in the New York Times, which was amazing. I had my mum there. Had a lot of stuff going on. So I'm like just a lot of things going on in my head. Had the race. I was disappointed in my race, but it was a good race. I thought I raced well. You know, outclassed definitely. But very excited that like just the way the team was performing was just incredible. So it was great to be a part of that. Pretty tired, and I was like, okay, now time to reset, go to Bathurst. So I flew from, the next day, I flew from New York to LA, 6-hour flight, and then LA to Sydney, 15-hour flight. I get into Sydney, I have a couple of calls and media stuff with the newspapers, and then the next day, I go straight to Bathurst, 3-hour drive, and then I'm on the campus there at the university, which is near where the course is. The course was just crazy. Like, it was absolutely brutal. It made the Austin course look like tame. Just the way the downhills were and the way the turns were and everything like that. I was like, wow, this is just like completely out of left field for me because I'm not used to running.
A Dathan Ritzenheim style course.
Yeah, it was a shocking.
I don't know if we ever mentioned this on the pod, but when we went to Austin and like the day before the race, we were doing our pre-meet, we were all like, this course is terrible. And Dathan just kept saying to us, man, I would have kicked your guys' butt on this course.
I would have been amazing. I would have crushed it.
But he texted me something different than what he told you guys, so
What
I
did
guess
he-
it was just a
He
mental
said
game.
Dathan's eternal optimist, but I pulled him aside before the Austin meet and he was like, yeah, if I knew the course was like this, I wouldn't have sent the team.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
I think he
texted me
was
as
pretty
well,
good
yeah.
at cross country.
But he was amazing.
He was very good
He was a
at
very good
cross
cross country runner.
So-
but it was really
So
funny.
well deserved. But it was,
The course was tough, and then it was really, really hot. It was like 38 degrees, 37
it
degrees
looks
Celsius.
ridiculous.
And I mean, yeah, I had always family come out. There's always people from my old school. Like, it was amazing. Like, the fan engagement in Bathurst was incredible for a cross country race. Like, it was fantastic. And the relay was the first event, so we went off. The downhills I struggled with, but the uphills and everything else I was pretty good in. But
didn't opt to jump over any of the tires.
No one did except for Emma Coburn was the only one out of everyone in the race.
Makes sense.
Men, women, under 20s.
Well, just yeah, the uphill tire jump is
yeah, it was an interesting feature.
That looks so hard.
It was tough because I was also quite tired. Like, I think I was a bit jet lagged, and I was just really, really nervous and worried because when you're competing for yourself, like, it's on you. But when you're competing with the team, particularly all the expectations we had, I was quite nervous. But I think I performed really well. Just the Kenyans and the Ethiopians are just so good at running downhill. Like, they're built for cross country, and me and Stewie struggled a little bit with the downhills, but Jess ran amazing, Abby ran amazing. We got third, which was fantastic.
Amazing.
But I think that's the 4th ever medal Australia's won in cross country at the World Championships. So really cool to be a part of. Got kids really engaged and excited. I got amazing messages from family, parents, kids saying that they're staying in athletics because of what they've seen for Stewie and for Abby and for Jess and myself. So that's really, it's a nice feeling because Australia actually has a really good history with athletics, but it just hasn't had that kind of kickstart. So that's when I had a little meeting with them, and then I had one day I was able to.
Wait, is it true that you gave someone your socks?
Yes, so they were asking for the glasses, they were asking for my uniform, but Athletics Australia only gives you one pair of everything.
Yeah.
And if you lose that pair, well, then it's kind of tough luck unless it's a racing kit or something essential. So I didn't want to give anything away because I can't really get it back. And the Oakley glasses as well. Like, I only had one pair there to race in, and I'm under contract with Oakley, so didn't want to give them away either. But the kids were like, they just wanted anything. They couldn't take the shoes. So they gave me my socks. My used socks. Sense. And I signed it, and the kid took photos of it.
They must have been so like muddy and...
Yeah, they were disgusting. And then I cooled down without socks because I had no other pairs of socks.
That's a good feeling.
Kids were just asking for everything. The fan engagement was amazing. It was just nuts. And then the next day, I was supposed to fly down to Melbourne to do media again because we just won a medal and they wanted to like kind of promote Murray Plant. But my mum's birthday was happening, and I was fortunate enough to get my flight changed by Nick Bordeaux, who was organising the Murray Plant meet, to come the next day at 7 a.m. So I had that day off, which was with my mum, my family, which was good. I got to see them a little bit. And then the next morning, I flew straight to Melbourne. Gus is having a massive snore right now.
Gus is loving the story.
Yeah.
He's heard all this shit before.
He's kind of pissed. Yeah, he's just like, yeah, you're going to leave me again, so who cares? Sorry, it's a long story. I'm dribbling on, but get to Melbourne, a lot of media and press. They asked me a lot of questions about just everything going in the sport with obviously the Peter Bowl situation. They asked me about that. They asked me about the stuff at Millrose, Bathurst, so a lot of media stuff. And then we had the launch, the OAC Oceania launch. And I tell you what, it's the best thing I've ever seen on Produce. It was really well done. The launch was amazing. And to me, I feel like we should be very proud of that because I think we, as a team, as well as the Europe team, and we've like built up, a great reputation for OAC that they've like learned how to promote and execute things, and like it was amazing. It was a really well done job. They unleashed the team to the media. I had a little chat with Olivier, which was nice.
My favorite thing was all the comments about it because people were loving it. Yeah. My favorite was when's OAC Antarctica launching.
Yeah. I love that comment. I actually screenshot that comment and sent it to the group chat. I think. Yeah, like it's just it looks like OAC.
We're taking over, baby.
Taking over. Yeah,
we're taking over. You got a continent. We're coming for you.
Taking over the running community. But still a lot of media. I was on the radio. I think it was Triple M was on. 7, 9, 10 I was on. Fortunate enough. And then like just a lot of spew of interviews and stuff like that. So it was all this happening the day before my race. And at this point, I had traveled across the world. I had done indoor race, cross-country race, and then now I have an outdoor mile. So it was a lot going on. But I was fortunate enough to kind of be able to kind of chill out during the day. And then the race happened. I was questioning how I was going to go, really badly. I was like, I don't think
You were feeling tired going into it?
Yeah, I just didn't think I was going to be able to even like compete. I was pretty cooked. Not from the travel or the running or anything like that. It's just the media, the social battery was gone, and I knew I had to be there and turn up. And because kids, I got messages from kids, which was like in my position, just very fortunate where they've driven a couple of hours, or they've been waiting so many years to watch me compete live, like in person, because I'm competing overseas all the time in Europe and in America. So I knew how much that meant, and if I went to there and had a shit race, I just knew that would suck for them, because then next thing you know, I'm running maybe another race and it's better, and they go, oh, I wish I was there to watch. So I just wanted to really put in the best effort I could. I ran really well. I was really happy with my race. It was a bit windy, but I felt pretty strong in the legs, which was a nice thing, but I was, very tired. Had a bit of fanning, so many fans there. There was thousands of people there. It was really nice to meet everyone there and get autographs and pictures and stuff like that. And then I went back, packed my bag, flew out 7 a.m. the next morning back to my mum's school. I danced in front of assembly.
I saw the videos of
it.
What was it? How did that happen? So for anyone who didn't see it, because you probably didn't, because you have to follow Kate the Great on Instagram to see it, but she's a teacher at a private girls' school in Sydney, and at assembly on the stage, Olli is leading a dance, and the whole school is like doing the dance with him.
Pretty much, yeah.
All these high school girls.
And I didn't even know what was happening.
Was it like a TikTok dance? Like, what was it?
No, so what happens is they have a show, they call it showcase, and they have like talent that comes up. Like some girls will sing, some girls might perform tricks, so they do stuff like that. And my mum was bringing me in as a surprise, because I had been to school before. I had talked previously when I went to the Olympics. And I came on stage. I was a surprise. So people were like, "Yeah, it's all."
So you can just say it. Like the girls were going freaking crazy.
They were going a little cray, and then they were saying, "Oh," they were asking me like what I was wearing. I was like, "I'm just wearing on shoes." And I'm like, "Okay, so that looks like you got some dancing stuff on." And then I was supposed to dance.
So it's kind of like a setup.
They didn't tell me. It was just a
setup by your mum.
Set up by my mum to dance, and my mum thought it'd be hilarious. But then the girls actually were able to get my mum in on it, so she had to come upstairs on the stage and dance as well with me, which actually helped, because I was terrified at that point. And I was doing this. I had limited hours of sleep. I just done all this travel, so like my social battery was gone. So I'm just trying to like do this, like move my arm.
That's the funniest image. You just like, I was so tired, and then you're just like, oh, I just gotta dance for these girls on stage.
I gotta put in my maximal effort.
How is this not going on no context yet?
I was absolutely cooked. Well, I mean the video, I'm sure my mum will leak it, but they have a video copy of it that I'm sure will be leaked at some point.
I might have it saved somewhere.
I went and spoke to Life Skills, which is a group of disabled girls, big anime fans. Got to check out and hang out with them, get a photo, and then I met with year ones who did some pictures of me at Commonwealth Games, and then spent some time with mum when she was at school, and then I went back, packed my bag, and then flew back here, and then I had a 5-hour delay in Los Angeles after my 13-hour flight in Sydney. So I waited around in Los Angeles, really just thinking, wow, this is tough. Got back at 6 p.m. on Saturday. And Gus didn't even look at me. So
no.
Yeah.
Gus.
But I think he likes me now. But I think that's the first day where he'll like disown me for a little bit because I left him. But in general, long story. I apologize for that. But that was kind of my 2 weeks. Was it 2 weeks?
That's a wild 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. So I don't know. I wonder if anybody's ever done an indoor race, a cross country race, and an outdoor race in the space of 2 weeks.
Sam Tanner.
Dude, Trey.
Oh yeah, Sam Tanner.
Sam Tanner.
Tanner's going 6 weeks in a row. He's racing again.
He did Boston. That was impressive. He's done Boston.
No, New Zealand mile champs.
So he did New Zealand, then Boston, then New York, then
World Cross,
then
Melbourne, then New Zealand champs this weekend.
Then New Zealand.
It's not a competition. You guys are both crazy.
You're both mental. I honestly think
he's like an amazing traveler though. Like Sam, I met Sam in Melbourne after everything. Because I saw him a little bit at Bathurst, but not really because we're just kind of separated with the countries. But I met him in Melbourne, and he's just always got so much energy. Always like, and he just always seems relaxed. And he was making fun of me because I looked like I was overweight when I was doing the interviews and stuff. He's like, "Oh, you look unfit." And I was like, "This is how I always look."
This is
yes.
See you guys. It's alright. You had him 3 for 3 though. So
yeah.
Milrose, Cross, and Melbourne. I feel like that race actually probably played out well for you, being tired. Like, you didn't have to absolutely go blast the first lap.
Well, technically the pacer
was so slow.
Yeah,
he looked so confident out in front, running like a 60. But it was honestly probably like a good thing for people that were just like had most of you had raced like the week before.
Yeah,
like almost just like a warm up the first half and then wind it up.
Definitely worked out better because like he was supposed to go at 155, and then when we took off the line and I got behind him, he was just like, I was like, wow, this is like really slow. Yeah, because I'm so used to just going out. And like 57, you know?
Exactly. So she might have like.
He looked like a young kid. So
he was a young kid, and he was
don't
very
want to
nervous.
rip into it. Like,
no. Yeah. I met him after the race. Like he was a bit. He thought he did the right. He didn't realize that like. I think it's just his first pacing job. He had no idea like how to handle it.
It's not easy.
I think it was 59, so it wasn't like he was like
We went through
miles
1:59, yeah, I think, or 2 minutes.
At 8:09.
I thought it was like 59, 57 or something.
Whatever it was, it was an amazing race because it wasn't too quick, and then you just on that last 400, you just opened it up and just like you were sprinting. So that was a sick race to watch. We really enjoyed that, and yeah, doing that at the end of those couple of weeks of madness, because yeah, people. I mean, if you listen to this podcast, you probably realize this. We're incredibly lazy. Like we train. And then apart from training, we do everything we can to do nothing. So when you have a full schedule of media, it like surprisingly takes it out of you a lot. And I mean, I guess it makes sense. You can imagine how like when you're media, it's a different thing. Like this podcast is pretty relaxed, but when you're in like proper media and you have to really like kind of put it on a bit, like that stuff like is draining. So it really adds up when you have to do all that. So credit to you, Olli. I don't know. We don't know how you do it.
I was also about to say, like, when I have to do grocery in the afternoon, that's already exhausting.
No, honestly.
It's like, you
It's
just
like
see that, in the end, you just see the result, but like, what you did, like, in the last few weeks, that's just insane. Like, all the traveling, all the media that you did, that's insane. I mean, as I said, like, in the end, you just see the result, and you probably feel like, oh, okay, yeah.
Like, it's all chill.
Yeah, that's all right, but, like, when you see, like, behind what's going on, that's just impressive.
Well, I do want to shout out like Sam Tanner, and Stewie and Abby and Jess, because those like they were competing multiple times. There are other people there as well that competed multiple times, but I feel like particularly with this sport, like it's very hard. We always talk about in the podcast, very hard sport to follow. But what people brought to Melbourne, particularly like Stewie and Abby and Jess and Tanner and Rowan and Fred Curley, like particularly Fred Curley, he was unreal. He was such he's a really nice bloke, and he's just amazing to watch. He's also really funny to talk to. But just in general, like bringing that to the sport, particularly into Australia, it felt amazing. I think there was about 5,000 to 6,000 people. It was sold out. There was a line out the door to get in during my race.
Amazing.
People didn't even see my race. It was amazing. And to have that in Australia after all the talk about us trying to like promote it, just really satisfying to see. So the hype is there, and I'm really thankful to everyone that was competing, participated in volunteering, and as well as the fans that turned up. It was incredible, and at Bathurst too. So that was definitely it was worth it and then some. It was really amazing. So thank you to everyone for that. It was awesome.
Worthwhile trip, but
100%.
Exhausted. So how are you planning on? Well, you're already traveling again this week.
Yeah.
And
to LA.
running 90%
there's a little kicker at the end, and then I get to actually settle down.
Well, how do you plan to get back to like Chile?
Well, I haven't actually confirmed yet, but I could be going back for the Nationals still.
I forgot about that.
I forgot about that.
Let's not think about it too much.
They're in Brisbane?
Yeah, which means I wouldn't fly. I actually wouldn't do what Dathan would plan to do, which is like you turn up like 7 days early, try and train a little bit, get used to it, and then go. I would probably fly in a couple of days before the race and just sleep. And just maybe do like a bit of light running, like do most of my training here, go and just recover, race, fly home. Yeah. So that's still on the table. We're trying to figure out if it's a smart option to do, because I gotta see my limit, because if I go there and maybe run well, maybe not run well, but get back and I'm just like either injury or cooked, like that's my whole season gone. So I gotta be smart about it. But for LA, the biggest motivation I have is Jonas and Joe. It's easy for me, because I can go there and go, I'm not running for myself, I'm running for them, and that is all the motivation I need to run 6K, 7K. So easy.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
We're gonna find Ollie's limit this season, guys. We're on a quest just to find the limit of what Ollie can do.
How much can he travel and race in 1 year, in one season?
I'm trying to get that 1K, bro. Like my flying and all that sort of stuff. From just even like the past 2 months, I'm like nowhere near, like even getting to gold.
You're not trying hard enough then, I guess.
No.
Let's do a couple more trips to Australia and back.
Yeah.
But no, I think that was a really nice recap of that, and how special it was.
It was awesome. It was really good.
I would love to be racing back in Australia eventually. My dad was like so bummed out that I wasn't there racing, because he knows how like. For us, down under cross country is like where you start, and it's so special. So it is, despite all the tiring and all the extra stuff, very awesome. You're able to do
athletics is in good hands in Australia at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's very cool to see. But the other one who just returned from a trip just yesterday, after racing 1 hour before it, had to go to the airport, was George Beamish. He had a sneaky little trip to Boston. We previewed it last week with Josette, and Josette didn't end up racing because it kind of was one of those races that just fell through with the pacing and the rest of the competition the mile. So they were like, oh, let's just like stay here and train and get ready for the pacing job she's doing. But George had a great race lined up in the mile there, and he went and absolutely crushed it. I'm sure all you guys saw it or have seen it by now. 3:51, so close to New Zealand record, world's qualifier, Oceania record. Yep. And just, I mean, at the end of the day, just an amazing time. Like, you're gonna feel very good about that. So I don't know, where do we start, man? That was
It was a suspiciously smooth travel on the way there. Like, things were going like too well. Like, we found, you guys know how DIA is, we found this like amazingly good park right at the front of the airport. Got through security in like 2 minutes.
Wait, who are you traveling with? Is yourself?
Me and Robbie.
You and Robbie.
Robbie's wife decided not to come, but
just a boys trip.
Boys trip.
And Ritz got COVID, so just me and Robbie. And then as I'm walking up to scan my barcode to get on the plane, it refreshes and like upgrades me. Like,
oh my
as
God.
I'm like pulling it out.
That's awesome.
It was insane, dude. And like I like go to scan it and it was like glitching, and then it like upgrades me like as I'm getting on the plane. It was wild.
That's nice.
And then we get to Boston, like our flight lands an hour early. Like
How's
just a
that possible?
full hour early.
The winds.
I don't know what was going
The
on.
wind.
And
The
then
wind.
They were
It was-
making up for the hour that we lost on the way back from Boston the last time.
yeah, I mean the way back.
It
was
all
still
evens
rough.
out.
Everything was just like way too smooth. So
Smooth traveling.
I don't know how long it could last for, but yeah, Boston was classic, brutal northeast winter weekend, snowing during pre-meet, and just like absolutely freezing. But we got in late Friday, and then literally left from the airport. I mean, from the track to the airport. So it was a quick business trip, very efficient, and also a funny race situation where like people didn't even, I feel like you couldn't tell the race existed even like 2 days before. Like it wasn't like
Just appeared
advertised.
after
There was no like, because it's not on the BU website, because it's not a BU race, no heat sheets, like there were barely entries. Like we didn't even really know. They said we're gonna have to pay $12 to do pre-meet at BU because BU wasn't put it on, we were just gonna have to like rent the facility. It was gonna be like $12 to do strides.
Split
It's
it
like,
up.
damn, these are some expensive strides. Fortunately, we didn't have to. We just walked in and the girl was like chill with it. But that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then, as you saw, we were in heat 2.
That was
Robbie
my
and I.
question.
Why did that happen? 'Cause
Explain.
you
I mean,
explain that, yeah.
I honestly have no clue. But mostly, I think it was Ritz and Andy just scheming. So Ritz was Andy's assistant coach, volunteer assistant a few years ago, and I think they're bros still. And so they were in like, we were kind of providing a pacer for those like
The Washington kids.
1,025,000 UW sub 4 milers, and so Andy was like trying to organize a pacer for them, and we were just kind of providing it and like organizing it together. And it seemed like it was like the Nike guys wanted to do something different or something. I honestly don't know, because it wasn't like the heats were seated, like apart from Cooper's 350 PR, obviously, like the rest of the couple of guys, like their breakout rate, like Lalo ran amazing, Henry ran really well, but like it didn't really look like an A and a B heat. It was just like separate, and I don't even know how they sorted them out.
Yeah, that's
I honestly
what
don't.
that's what confused me, because you could tell, it wasn't actually seated, but then I guess it was just like the two opposing storylines, because then the other one was Cooper Tia wanted to run very fast, because he's run last year. Him and Cole ran 350,
350.
and the year before they ran 350 or 351.
I think like almost the exact same time.
So I
Yeah.
think this year he's like, well, may as well run that or quicker again. So I
Yeah.
guess that was like the storyline of the narrative of his heat, but then to see them in different heats was really weird. So I wonder how, because there's him setting up that, and then there's Dathan and Andy Powell. So you and all the UW guys with Robbie Andrews setting it up, and they kind of conflict. So then I wonder how everyone else like got sorted into like
I know.
Yeah.
Heat 1 or Heat 2.
I know how. I think Cooper Teardrop saw George and was like, no way. He's on my heat. He'll come up, sneak by me again. I don't want that. I'd rather not deal with it. Put him in the other heat. That's what happened, and Geordie still snuck up.
It did seem like it was kind of handpicked because all those OTC guys, the other Nike guys, well, kind of, whatever, were in Cooper's heat.
Yeah.
Like,
I guess it makes sense
reading
though.
those guys.
Like, because you guys are like they're kind of setting up that race in a way, and you're setting up that. You can just like choose.
You definitely, yeah. I think I don't think if you really pushed to be in Cooper's heat, I'm sure it would have not been a problem.
but I didn't want I thought our heat just sounded.
I
good.
think your heat was good. I think their heat was good, and it was like Morgan said, there's two like different storylines.
But it was weird because there were people in Heat 1 that wanted to be in our heat just because it seemed like way better organized. Like Lalo wanted to be in the second one.
But there was no space with the 8 UW guys, and then also Sam Prakel.
And
was
Sam and
there.
Johnny. Sam and Johnny are basically UW. They're both coached by Andy.
Didn't Teardrop also say in his post-race interview that he wanted to be in the second heat? Is that me making it up? Or?
I didn't see that, but maybe we have to
He
check
might
that.
have just said something about the pacing.
Yeah, maybe he was like, I prefer to be in second heat because of the pacing or something. I don't know.
I guess you could say that afterwards,
Yeah.
considering that George ran the fastest time in the meet. So
Yeah.
but
Did you think you had it as well?
What?
The win?
Like over the first
it
heat?
was extremely
Or-
close.
No,
just-
in the race. Like I'm saying, like with your
I
break,
could tell.
you could tell.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you have that momentum, you
He
can just know.
I got the timing right this
Yeah.
week. I messed it up at Melrose, not knowing how many laps were left, but got the timing just
Wait, how do you not
spot
know
on.
how many laps were left in Melrose?
Hey, dude, you missed the podcast. Yeah, you missed the whole.
I didn't know this.
You got to go back and listen to that one.
That's very uncharacteristically George.
That's what I was saying.
Missing laps.
Dude, it was
I thought you were good with numbers. Didn't you do engineering?
Yeah.
and a math minor, dude. But it was in AU, so
It doesn't. It makes sense.
It
though.
all makes sense.
But that was a good self burn. I like that one. I mean, yeah, like I remember watching. I don't know what you're gonna obviously because you'll talk about how you feel in the race, but me watching it, I was fortunate enough to watch it with Tom Wang, which was fantastic because we were able to kind of just enjoy it together, and it looked to me exactly, obviously different race, different event, exactly like a year ago Milrose 3K. It looked exactly the same, except you're probably maybe a bit further back in the 3K, but the same way that you kind of like you were kind of slid like probably at 150 to go, your engine just went like that and just started going, and it was pretty impressive to watch because your stride is like hard to. Your stride is weird because it looks like you're going quick, but it doesn't look like you're going that quick. Like your legs are pretty just. Your stride is still quite long. It's really interesting to watch because then you watch Prakel. Prakel's like this, and you're just like, like this. And then you both at the same time hit the line. It was pretty exciting. Did people get around it? Get rowdy afterwards?
Honestly, like the meet was pretty low key.
It was one of those ones.
It was one of the BU ones where it was like pretty empty.
Like this is just a race happening.
Yeah,
An amazing race happening.
Nothing.
Yeah.
There was
It's an
no
amazing race happening and there's no one there.
like nothing over the loudspeaker.
Yeah. That's
So
fun.
did you know? Yeah, I was gonna say like because the loudspeaker would be easy to tell. Like, oh, Beamish won. Like, would the crowd be like, no?
Yeah,
who
no,
won?
there-
They'd be
there-
like,
there
wait,
was
did Michael
nothing.
get it or George get it? I missed it. Like,
Which is like a classic BU thing where it's like barely a race. It's
Guys are just running fast.
guys just trying to go run fast, and yeah, it's one of those races where I feel like I would have liked to be able to do that. Or I felt like I had that in me for a while now, but for whatever reason it just didn't happen. Like I only ran that one indoor mile last year, and it was real shit. So nice to make it happen this year.
nice to put on the paper.
Yeah, would have. Yeah, makes me feel like 350, 349 is there. Like it's doable. Would have loved to. I mean, like once we had the pacing and everything set up and just put my faith in Robbie and the UW guys, it was kind of just let's try and win it and then hope that it's 349. And it wasn't, unfortunately. But shit, can't complain too much. Yeah, would have loved to get Willis's record survives another year. Two 351.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Cracks
Like,
at it.
That's crazy.
I think Willis knows that record's got 1 year left because you have
Yeah.
you and Tanner, and like you guys are only going to improve. So
It's on borrowed time.
also like I mean Willis knows like super spikes, short tracks. Like Willis will go through it. Once that record breaks, everybody go to Nick Willis's Twitter and you'll be able to see the explanation as to why it broke.
I'm surprised you didn't say that after
Dude,
my 3K.
Nick-
No, he did tweet at you about after the race. on Twitter.
No, I don't have
He
Twitter.
said that like he was like I think he was complimenting you though. I think
We
he
gotta
was saying
check it.
something about like you're very close to New Zealand record. Like it was like it was a very unlike Willis. It was very
Well,
complimentary.
he doesn't. I don't think he tweets as much. Like, he doesn't tweet as much that comes to my attention as he once did. Like,
Yeah, he had a couple earlier on in the season, in the indoor season, then he kind of slowed down.
Maybe now he's got a real job. He has to tone it back.
Well, also like his boys Mason Furlick and Hobbs Kessler haven't raced as much. Like I think Hobbs has run a couple of really good races, but they haven't raced as much or been like in that racing scene as much for Willis to comment because I feel like he gets into that Twitter commenting.
he does get around his boys.
When he gets around his
Yeah.
boys,
Very
which
nice
you love.
track.
You
As
want
he
that.
should.
You want that. You want your one of the best middle distance runners ever from New Zealand to just like have your back. It's pretty cool. So, but we'll see. We'll see how the season goes on.
Yeah, and I really wanted. I feel like if I just for the pod, I just wanted that Oceania record
Yeah.
just
No,
for
I mean,
today.
Oceania
I think
that's the
pretty
only
cool.
reason.
Yeah, that record is very easily
Just bragging
gettable
rights.
from Tanner, from you, from even like Stewie or
It's
like
also the
it's-
coffee club.
Coffee Club record, true.
Yeah, we could have had it.
Oh, wow.
But
Would've been
now
big.
this is
Would've
my
been big.
question, George. 4x mile. People are talking about it. What are your thoughts?
That was my application for
Yeah.
the team.
Because I might
As the
True.
we might have to do a
the-
time trial because like it's
Thank God the
pretty
pressure's,
crazy.
Another one,
off
another one.
Jonas and I.
Yeah.
Because we have so let's just go through PRs.
Well, I don't know if we
351.
do this though because I don't think it's happening.
we
Yeah, but I
don't
just- I just
Yeah,
wanna-
I
I don't
yeah,
think
but
so.
I think it's confirmed not happening.
the ammo.
No,
No.
I
I don't think it's happening.
If it's not happening, it's not happening. But I want to just talk about how good our miles are in general. Because we
Just-
have
just a little circle jerk,
347
if we may.
from Yarra indoors. You have 350.
You can say 347 for Ollie. We'll let you do that.
Okay, well I'm gonna say
Two 347s.
I'm gonna say you have two sub 350 miles indoor outdoor,
Okay,
you-
two sub 348, dude. That's so different.
and then
247's outrageous.
and then you have 351, but like just chilling for most of the race. And then you have Mario, who's probably gonna run. It's probably sub 350 run as well.
Yep.
If you have that team, 4x mile seems like it's doable now.
That's
It
what
was,
we thought
it
last
was
year.
doable before, dude. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
That's what we thought
But the
last
thing is,
year.
we also have someone like Yard who can literally just solo a 347 probably to start it off, so then we can have like 10-second buffer for the
That'd be
average.
nice.
Oh, yeah, the average is only
57, yeah. So we have a 10-second buffer straight away.
Yeah, but
Jared
like
could do that in his sleep.
the record holders were all like
Yeah, they
350,
were.
like
They were
350
349,
miles,
350
Yeah,
miles.
so-
They were all really good.
So it does
Yeah.
check
It just
out.
like from what Ray told me, who's part of the team, he said like it has to be like on the day, everyone has to be on and everything has to be good. You know, the stars have to align. But
This is giving me PTSD.
the thing with
from
Yard,
last year.
Yeah, dude, this
the
is
thing-
too much.
the thing-
Too
about
much.
it.
But this is the thing. This is the new card we have. The thing with Yard is you could go Yard. I want you to go run 347. You just go. Okay, and then you just go and do it. So we have a 10-second buffer. So that means me, George, and Mario just got to make sure we run like faster than 357, which I think we can do.
All right, looks like we're doing it.
It's
And
silly to
just saying
think
it's more doable now than it was last year.
100%.
after running.
Particularly when we have more bodies.
Hey, you guys are wearing matching shirts. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's our best. It was my favorite artist, Bink.
Shout out to Bank.
Shout out to Bink.
running 351 makes on my best day makes me the 4th best miler on the team, that feels good, and 2nd best on the podcast. It's crazy.
It's very impressive.
Yeah. It was a textbook George, but like
I haven't had one for a while.
I thought like I've never seen you kick that hard. Like I always felt like you had kind of like you increased into it, but this time in Boston, like I rewatched the race this morning. It was like 150 to go. Like
Yeah.
you just like
Put on
like
the
one step
cannons.
to the other step. Like you were moving. Like that was such a hard change of pace. Like I've never seen you.
Should have
doing
gone 50 meters earlier. Then I would have had it. But
Yeah.
Prekel really crushed that.
No,
second
see that's the
last
thing.
lap.
Like Prekel ran
He was-
really well. Like
Dude, Mr.
He made that
Consistent.
race.
he is consistent, and I think he's going to be a threat. Obviously, it's very early out, but like outdoors 1500. I think
He always
Prekel's
is.
flicked
He's
the
such a good
switch.
racer.
I think he's
He's always in the right
because
spot.
we'd always talk about how he's really good at hitting 336. Like he was a 336 man, 336, 336. Now you see Prekel, and he's just like developed as an athlete, running faster, but also just tactically like so much more terrifying. So I reckon he's going to be amazing for
I
the
think he's gonna have a
USA
good-
outdoors. I'm
I,
really
I
excited
love
for
racing
him.
with
He's a really nice guy too, and
Johnny.
he works really hard. Johnny also
Him and
works
Johnny.
really hard, yeah.
it's
Just good blokes.
so fun
Also,
to be around.
what's with the Asics kit? I saw Johnny wearing it. It's like grey.
Oh yeah, the
It's the
white
same as
and-
Fred Curly, but he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't wear the Fred Curly quarter
He's
tights.
has got the
see,
same
the
muscles.
Fred Curly
Can't pull
quarter
it off
tights,
the
like
same.
it looks different. Because when I saw it on Johnny, I was like, that uniform looks a bit bland. Like it's a bit.
It looks
It's
good on
kind of cool up
Mokatiel.
close.
And
It's like there's
yeah.
a bunch of designs
See,
and stuff.
I
Looks
didn't even
very
know
Japanese.
Mokatiel was wearing Asics gear. I didn't even know.
It looks good on him. Okay, I think if you're tanned, it looks cooler because it's so white. So
Yeah.
no offense to Johnny, if you're listening, just don't listen to this part. If you have pale skin,
But he lives in Boston in the winter.
I don't think it looks as good.
It's got
He'll
no
look better in the
Maybe
summer
in the
when
summer,
he gets a bit
yeah,
of a tan.
it'll
Yeah,
come
he'll
out
look
in
good
the summer.
That's when it matters too. So.
But
Get
yeah,
out of the library.
you freaking nerd.
When is Asics gonna make him like denim like shorts to race?
That would be
race
pretty
in?
sweet.
To honour
would be-
his denim mile.
That would
But
be
that'd be sick.
ideal.
Asics get onto that shit.
I have to say though, I feel like that I probably made a little bit of progress in terms of not like losing focus
That's-
halfway through the race.
Yeah,
It's
what I
probably
was
the
gonna
best I've ever
I'd say that too.
run in that situation. And someone posted afterwards that every single 200 meter split was faster than the one before it.
So it was
That's
just
so
a one
cool.
down.
Isn't that wild?
That's
Yeah.
very cool.
It's like what we were trying to do in the IPF like a few weeks
Yeah.
ago. I literally ran that mile.
It's very impressive.
perfect.
Almost PR'd in the 800. I last closed in 153.
Damn.
Almost my PR's 152, so almost had a crack at that. Yeah, I feel like put in my application to join the mid D team again. Probably
I'm back, baby.
Probably not going to be accepted, but good way to end the indoor season.
Yared runs that, so you'd have to put an
You
application.
need to go through him.
Yeah.
But no, it was amazing. We did have a submission for a Sam Prakel nickname, Prickly Prakel. It's a bit of a tongue twister.
I was
Prickly.
gonna do Sam Pringles, but it's,
Sam Pringle is actually very good as well.
I mean, like, yeah, this is my thing, man. I always nail it. Sam Pringles. But we could do, what was it? Sam Pringles.
You could do Prickly. No, that
Prickly
wouldn't.
Prickle.
Then you're really getting away. Prickly. Yeah.
Sam Pringles, I like.
I don't know. Put in the comments. Put in the comment
Yeah.
section of this video if you
Have any good ideas on
which one you prefer out of those two.
Yeah, 100%.
Little competition in the comments.
See, I got one for Jonas too,
What is it?
but he's vegan, so I feel bad about it a little bit. It's Jonas.
Oh, we didn't even say that in the introduction. What are we doing?
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
by the way, everyone's
He's the
vegan.
world record holder.
Yeah.
Vegan world record holder.
Right.
Yeah, vegan world record holder here.
We think.
As you can, I think it's like Beauty and the Beast a little bit for me and Jonas, because like I'm a bit of a beast when it comes to food, and Jonas is a beauty. So, but we have that relationship that's just lovely. So you know, you can see both
least you
both
don't
parties can
At least you have to understand.
can
that.
coexist.
That's nice.
Yeah. But my name for him was
Oh, young
Jonas
vegan?
Reese Pieces.
What is it?
Reese Pieces.
Reese Pieces.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what Reese Pieces are? They're like a peanut butter chocolate thing that they have in the US.
Okay.
But it's
I like
chocolate,
it.
so it's like milk involved. But
You're
Jonas Reese,
not
I'm gonna
missing
find a
out.
soy boy one, like one that's like vegan.
But I like the young vegan.
I miss the soy
Young
boys.
vegan.
Yeah.
Wonder what they're up to these days.
Stress fracture. No, I'm kidding. Sorry, Jonas. That was a joke. No. As someone I'm only allowed to make that joke because I'm injured. You know, I got fractures of my own, and I eat a lot of meat.
Yeah, so only
it doesn't
you
matter.
and Jonas can make that joke because Jonas is actually a vegan and you've got to stress it.
Yeah, we're the victims.
You're the
this-
victims in that
this
situation. Yeah.
Nah, dude, I think actually this is such a random aside, but Papa Lynx, I can't remember his real name.
Just go with that. Papa Lynx is
Probably,
good.
I think he's about to do a race.
America.
I think he's doing a New York half or something.
Really?
I think he's doing a big race because I follow him on. Do I follow him? I think I follow him on Strava, or maybe it's just Instagram and he posts his Strava. But he's been crushing it down in San Diego.
And he's a soy boy?
He was at one point. Oh, he's not
in a former
anymore?
life.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
I think.
God.
Might have to fact check that one.
Yeah.
I think the soy boys disbanded.
Yeah, because Harvey was a soy boy, but not anymore as well.
Harvey's tried everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Harvey was
He'll
also
try
on
anything
carnivore
once.
diet at one point.
He'll try absolutely anything.
That's a shout out to our friend Harvey Nelson, a member of the Coffee Club Track Club. Is
Yeah.
that what's called? I forgot its name.
Yeah. Coffee Club
He was on
Club.
episode like 4.
Yeah.
Now
He was
he's
on-
now
way
he's
the
Coffee
first
Club
one.
Triathlete Club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which that's a kind of more of a new race team that we got going on,
Yeah.
but he's doing his part for it. So yeah, I guess to finish that segment, it was a great race and it was very, very good to watch. Just the way you raced or the way you got after it, and then getting that textbook George win is always got to be just the sweetest thing. So congrats for that. Yeah, not much more to say about it, but another successful trip to Boston. Close out the
Boston
indoor
seems like the
season.
spot, man. We'll run well
Something
there.
about that track.
You're
Yeah.
just now realizing that?
Well, I am, but I'm just thinking maybe we should just race everything in Boston and then only race outside of Boston if it's World Champs Olympics.
I am legitimately
So, like, do a
surprised that
Eugene?
the Bowmen don't do that.
Yeah, do a Eugene but Boston, because like you just look so good and you'd have fast times. You'd always qualify for the standard, so then you've always got the standard going into trials. Do well in the trials. Then you're well.
What's that track doing during the summer? Probably not much. It's probably just sitting there. It's probably just casual people
I
use
think
it.
the tennis team uses it quite a bit.
They do some reps on there.
Well, they play on the infield, but yeah, they run around it. Yeah.
They put reps.
Well, I mean, I heard that the ONS booked it out for Roger Federer to test the new track spikes around the indoor, and then have a little tennis session in the infield.
A
So
little double.
yeah, so if anybody wants to check that out, tickets are available on the Coffee Club podcast website. To see Roger run a 200 meters in the track spike and then play a bit of tennis in the new Roger tennis shoes. So check that out. Tickets are only on our link. They're non-refundable.
We're gonna get rich.
Gonna get rich.
How many meets are there going to be at Eugene in this next
I don't
period?
even want to think about that.
To be honest, I actually had a good conversation. This is a side note with Fred Curley, and we were in drug testing together, just hanging out. I have a great story about him from somebody else that I do want to tell you guys on the podcast. So I'll start with that. So Nick Bordeaux was organising the meet, and he picked up Fred Curley from the airport, and Fred Curley was like sitting in the back seat, you know, acting pretty cool, and Nick Bordeaux asked him. He goes, "Well, Fred Curley, what do you want to eat?" And then Curley's like, "I want something that's different, you know. I want something that's a bit out there, a bit wild." And Nick Bordeaux just goes, "Well, we got kangaroo, we got, you know, like crocodile, like you can eat like all those kind of different variations of food." And Fred Curley literally sits in the back of the seat in Sydney and just goes, "I want zebra." And like Bitters has just met him, and it's been 20 minutes in the car ride. He's like, "We can't get zebra. Like there's no zebra meat that exists in Australia." Like Fred was like convinced that he could get zebra meat to eat when he was in Sydney. Now back to the meat and drug testing. I asked him about the Eugene thing, and he's just like, "Yeah, like it's just really bad for the sport." He's like fully adamant about like it should be in LA or Florida, which is good for sprinting.
That's the sprinter in him talking
Yeah,
right there.
good for sprinting.
LA and Florida.
But he says if you have it at the right time of year and it's in a massive city, like it'd make track and field so much better. And we talked about this in the pod. He obviously doesn't know about Coffee Club because I asked him about it.
What the hell?
But in general, Crispy Curly was very, very adamant about Eugene being bad for the sport in the sense of getting access to it. Because he loved Melbourne. He was like obviously that doesn't happen every year, but the crowd and everything like that was crazy. It's like how like it was probably bigger than the trials at the USA's, and there shouldn't be. USA should be massive. It should be really hard to get in and get a seat. So
Yeah,
he's got ideas, man. That guy's got ideas.
That guy does have
He has
ideas.
some
If you
ideas. That's
follow
all I'm
him
going
on
to say
Twitter-
about it. He has ideas.
You follow him
But
on
the
Twitter.
LA meet, Florida meet makes sense. Like, put it in a place where people can easily get to the location.
Considering the Olympics, is 2028 is in LA, so
LA.
I imagine in America that's going to be like it's going to shift. It's going to shift where that's going to be like. spot for
How's
that.
Phil going to feel about that, do you think? And,
sure.
and Jerry Shoemaker.
Yeah, not happy. No,
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll find a way to profit off it. They'll find a way. But
What about Ritz? How do you think Ritz will feel about us going to LA a lot?
couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Actually, we've run a lot of quick times in LA as a team.
Yeah.
We had some good races there, so some good memes.
It's pretty good memes.
We'll
So-
just still stay in Dana Point.
We'll stay at Dana Point, and you and I will be sleeping on the floor. So look forward to that, George.
Good times.
Good times.
That could be you this
I'll
weekend.
never forget waking up and then like looking over and just seeing George on the floor just going like that. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, this is a. I don't know if anyone listening is going to get these references.
Well, the
but
reference
this-
was when George and I ran that race where George beat me in, like, it was like a lead up to the 10K, and I was pacing and George and I were racing to try and get that standard. We were staying in an Airbnb. It was actually quite a nice Airbnb. This is when I got locked out without my spikes. But we were sleeping on the floor because there wasn't another bed. But obviously times have changed. We'd probably be sleeping on a couch now. So
high rollers.
high rollers.
Moving up in the world.
Moving up in the world, yeah.
But
Yeah, it's one of those experiences that you're just going to look back on a pro and go, remember that, George?
those are the good
Those are the
memories.
good old days, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, back to LA this weekend. Well, I mean, this has been a pretty night. We've had so much to cover this episode. Jonas, is there anything else you would like to say while you have this massive platform?
I was just wondering during the podcast, like, do you have the stats, like, where, like, audience, like,
Where the
your
drop off
audience
is?
Like, where you have, like, I guess, like, America is definitely, like, most people you have, like,
Where listens?
listeners.
Yeah, we have all those
But-
stats.
Okay.
We have a
So
pretty
Switzerland
big-
is not a big market for us.
It's going to change
Um,
after this one,
This
though.
will-
We have a pretty
it's
big
changed.
market in Norway.
No way. It's one family in
It's one
particular.
family.
One family in particular.
Henrik just re-listens. He just listens to it on repeat for a whole week.
Did you see Jakob
Just
saying
understanding.
sport in an interview?
Yeah.
I got a clip of that.
Do you reckon, because Chicky Chavez sent that to me as well, do you reckon like he actually got that from us, or is he saying that just because it's like easy for
I don't
us to
think
say?
he would have been able to come up with that.
I think at this point, I still
generally
don't
think
know
he
if
listens
we,
to it, yeah.
I still don't know if we like invented it or like, I think it's just common. It's just like a common phrase now that people say.
I think we popularized it.
Yeah.
I do think we popularized it. I mean, people might say no, you didn't, but I'm 100% convinced that we did.
Because like, if someone says like, yeah, this is good for the sport, I think at this point it's just like part of the lexicon of talking about like
Yeah.
specifically
The big
track and
snowball
field.
effect.
Like it's just something that people say about it now, or they say bad for the sport or not good for the sport. It's just like it's just influencing the culture, you know. So it's just like the norm now. It's just how people describe things, and I think we were a big part of that. So pat on the back. But to answer your question, Jonas, we are definitely biggest in America, and then I think second biggest in Australia.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
New Zealand?
New Zealand is there, but New Zealand, unfortunately, we have a lot of sheep that listen to it there, but there's just not enough people to
Not
really
enough
boost
response.
those numbers.
Because those sheep only listen to it for a couple of months and then they disappear. We don't know where they go. But in general, now that we have Jonas Raess pieces on the pod, we're going to have a great surge of Swiss listeners
Come on,
tapping in.
you're representing a Swiss brand, so
Yeah.
I guess
Good
it's
take over.
time now that like also the Swiss
It's time.
listeners are
It's time. But well,
coming on the pod.
if that's it, if you got nothing else, then
No, thanks a lot. Appreciate
thank you
it.
very much for coming on the show, and good luck for the big race this weekend. We're going to be very sad because Jonas is leaving us as well after
Yeah.
this race until he comes back for the next training trip. So I guess we'll see you when you see you. Best of luck in the race and have a good time over in Europe. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. This has been episode 75 of the Coffee Club Podcast. We'll see you guys next week.